Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the virtual Autodrome Nacional Monza on iRacing as we get ready for the final round of FTF1's 10-round campaign. It's round 10 of 10, the Italian GP, live on STN Racing. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside with the booth tonight is Jacob Pitts with Zach Johnson in the director's seat for tonight's action. As we get ready for tonight's 35-lap action, it's going to be an intriguing one, Jacob. These drivers attacking the road course known as Monza, known for its high speeds and its potential in turn of speeds of more than 200 miles an hour tonight.
Yeah, we've already seen a couple of guys, almost, I think everybody in the entire field has gotten up over 200 mile an hour at some point on the track or another. So there's a lot of speed on these cars. But the difference is, compared to a track like Indianapolis, where we were last week, is that you're going 200 mile an hour, and then you pretty much have to stop on a dime and turn that into about 50 mile an hour sometimes in order to make the corner. There are a lot of tight chicanes around this racetrack. There are a lot of fast sweeping corners around this racetrack. It really throws a curveball at all these drivers as they pretty much have to prepare for everything around the track.
We are in the midst of qualifying for tonight's action, where it's a double points paying round, double F1 points for tonight's action. And at the moment, it is Ocean Walsh who's at the top of the board with a 114, 015, 6/10 quicker than Tucker Minter, Blake Reynolds, Tyler Williams, Jake Poulin. That's your current top 5 in qualifying amongst our competitors so far in what's expected to be a fairly tight field for tonight. As well, keep in mind the championship is still in the balance for one Tucker Minter entering this evening. A 30-point advantage over his Splash and Go factory teammate, Ocean Walsh, entering tonight as we take a look at those standings after the 9th round of the season at the Brickyard.
And you know, this race, double points. So if Minter gets a top 5, he's pretty much guaranteed the championship. And we only have 11 cars here, so he's going to struggle, I think, to be outside the top 5 unless he junks the race car. Now remember, these guys have 2 faster pairs, so there's certainly a little bit of a safety net for Minter if he does make a few mistakes, but you don't want to make too many early on or you're going to have a big hole to dig out of.
Course Splash and Go factory team also currently leading the team stands as seen by 75 points. It's going to like to take the time to thank Justin Malillo for that graphic for tonight's action. And when it comes to this track, keep in mind, the reason they're reaching so high of speeds, we have no first chicane for tonight, meaning drivers will be running into Del Roggia at that speed of more than 200 miles an hour. As we take a look at our track profile, 3.5 miles is the distance for tonight for this facility. Just 9 turns, best passing opportunities going to be in the Del Roggia. Turn number 2 in particular, the Lesmo can bring some challenges, Ascari could bring some challenges, and Parabolica can lead to some big slingshots down that front straightaway. Where are you looking at, Jacob, as those best opportunities and danger zones for tonight?
Turn 9 can set up some interesting things, but not really for the win, because the start-finish line is closer to the exit to turn 9 than it is down towards turn 1. I think the chicanes are probably the easiest spots to pass, turn 2 and then 6, or turns 2 and 3 and then 6, 7, 8. I think that's probably the easiest spots to pass on the racetrack. 4 and 5, I think they're a little too tight to try and make it pass, to be perfectly honest. But there's a lot of speed, a lot of straightaway. There's going to be a lot of draft here, but there's not a lot of room to pass once you get into these corners. These corners are tight, and some people have difficulty just making it through in one lane, going through side by side. Forget it.
Several drivers throughout practice and qualifying have made the mistake of clipping the grass throughout tonight's action, and it should be worth noting that, if necessary, there is a safety car. Yes, a safety car going to be used for tonight, which just so happens to be hitting the racetrack, driven by Kevin McAdams for tonight. So, if necessary, this safety car will freeze the field and bring the field under caution if necessary.
And how about this? We have a late entry into the race tonight, Spencer Ray of the 80. So we're going to wind up with a total of 12 cars, excluding the safety car.
Spencer Ray, we'll have to see how he does for tonight. It's going to be intriguing how this race plays out overall, in my opinion, because you've got strong road course performers like Walsh, Minter, and Reynolds, but you also have drivers who may be wild cards like Logan Helton or Ryan Araki or Ryan Doucette, who are really intriguing to see how they perform for tonight. Yeah,
I mean, it's a small field, but there is a lot of talent in this field. I think could give Tucker Minter and guys that are really good on the road courses like Blake Reynolds a run for their money here. But we're just going to have to wait and see, as we've got just over a minute left here in qualifying. Don't think, well, Spencer Ray's not going to be able to get a lap in here, unfortunately, so he's going to start at the back. But that's going to be interesting for him, though, because he hasn't set a lap here on the server with us. So he's pretty much going to be going into this first corner blind.
And that could be very tricky when it comes to this car, because this is a car, keep in mind, that takes time to execute with and practice with. Keep in mind, with Spencer Ray, he needs to get himself, at the very least, on the racetrack, at the very minimum, because per rules and regulations, in normal conditions, there is a 100%, 7% rule to consider for tonight. But we are closing to the final stages of the countdown for qualifying. Drivers Ryan Doucette, Logan Helton, Ryan Naraki are currently on track trying to get their final lap attempts together. And when it comes to open qualifying, there is a bit of leeway and extra time for drivers to complete their current laps. So we'll see how things go for these drivers. There's a bit of contact in factor in qualifying here.
It happens, you know, guys getting too aggressive and maybe just trying to push the boundaries a little bit, kind of like it's a practice session. Spencer Ray is on the track right now, but he's not going to get very far. So we've got about a minute and a half left here in the until like we're done. But I'm interested to see here how they're going to rule on Spencer Ray, with the fact that he is not going to be able to set a lap here. He did not cross the start-finish line to start his first lap before the checkers came out, so he will not officially set a time.
So the clock continues to wind down here. Who are you keeping your eye on the most tonight to try and be kind of an underdog, in your opinion, for this race to try and get on the podium? Because here's one of the special parts of tonight's finale. There are prizes on the line for the podium positions. $25, $20, and $15 worth of iRacing credits are on the line for the podium tonight. So in our words, if you get the podium, you're in a good position to be able to earn the prizes tonight. Who do you feel is going to get themselves into those positions, Jacob, for tonight?
Well, based off of practice, and based off of qualifying, I think I'm going to go with Tyler Williams. He's back in the 6th spot here in qualifying, but he was top of the board in practice. You know, we've seen him be able to put some decent strings together before, and I think everybody else is going to expect guys like Walsh and Minter to dominate. I'm going to go out on the limb and say Tyler Williams, he gets it done.
Williams has had a very stellar season, 58 points back to the championship lead, top 3 overall. Williams FTF1 machine. But drivers now will have a 5-minute warm-up to prepare for tonight's action, get the last of the preparation in for tonight. Overall, 11 drivers scored times in qualifying. Walsh led the way in qualifying with a 1:14.015. Tucker Minter worked well with him in qualifying for a 1:14.196. Blake Reynolds a 1:14.774. Logan Helton a 1:15.1, followed by Jake Poole in the top 5 on the board. Among the drivers who are towards the bottom of the board, Tyler Williams in 6th, Ryan Doucette 7th, Valentine 8th, Painter, Naraki, Maloa were the drivers who set times in this session. And you can tell when it comes to this car, it takes a special skill set to drive this, because keep in mind, the Dallara IR01 was designed and released back in December by Dallara to have a top-tier open-wheel race car that blends modern aerodynamics with the classic Grand Prix functions like limited driver aids, which has 900 horsepower with a V10 power plant, reminiscent to those in the early 2000s. It takes a lot of talent to be able to drive these machines tonight, Jacob.
Yeah, these aren't walks in the parks like the current cars are. You have to manhandle these things to get them around the racetrack. They are certainly not easy to drive. I personally have not taken these out for a spin at any racetrack yet, But I've just seen watching these guys in the few races that we've covered here, Michigan and then last week at Indy, these guys have a whale of a time on the racetrack just keeping control. We've seen a lot of fast speeds at the ovals. We're going to see a lot of fast speeds here tonight. And when these guys pull out of line, if they pull out of line and they're too aggressive, and get wheel wobbly, make contact, crash, that's not what they want to do, but it's certainly a possibility because this track isn't really very wide either. It is very, very possible for these guys to make mistakes just because of how on edge these cars are.
Keep in mind, this is a link to what's expected to be a busy weekend of FTF action with the Grand National Series on the oval here too at this facility, Jacob.
Yeah, they are. They're flying. We had the potential to see a lot of nasty wrecks tonight. I'm not saying it's going to happen, just because there are only 12 cars. There's always the possibility that somebody gets the tires onto the grass, onto the gravel, and loses control of the race car. But I think for the most part, these guys are going to be able to keep it clean and really put on a good show, just because there are so little of them here that we should be able to keep it clean for the most part.
By the way, currently the demonstration on how the safety car is to work under procedures is currently going wrong.
Yeah,
as you can see.
Yeah. I'm getting IndyCar Detroit vibes. I just heard somebody come over the radio and say he tried to bump draft the safety car. That's not going to work well 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, that was their demonstration to drivers during a meeting that is now going on for competitors. They have been told to come down to the pit lane for the remainder of the drivers' meeting so drivers can complete their current laps. Then they have to make their way down to said pit lane for tonight before 1 minute to grid for tonight. With that, Jacob, what are your keys to victory when it comes to a race such as this tonight? 35 laps to get the job done.
It's 35 laps. Initially, we were looking at a 53-lap race. They shortened it because of the lack of cars that are here. So now you've got less time to make moves and to put something together. Lap times are about minute 14, minute 15 or so. On fresh tires, they'll probably fall off a couple of seconds as time goes on. This thing's going to be done in probably about 45 minutes or so. So these guys are going to have a limited time and a limited opportunity to gain spots, especially when, it spreads out. It's going to be that much harder. Yeah, you're going to have the draft, but if you're good on the straightaway and not good in the corners, and the car in front of you is good in the corners, you're never going to see that car again. They're just going to pull away from you. So you have to be aggressive right out of the gate, but you can't be too aggressive to put yourself or other cars in harm's way, just because that's no good for anybody.
Warm-up is now coming to a close for tonight. A couple drivers were able to put in times. Helton, Painter, Reynolds, Williams during that warm-up, with the fastest being Helton, a 1:15.4, which was 0.3 off of his qualifying time. But the drivers are now getting all set to go for tonight's action. 35 laps on the docket tonight. And to the starting grid, the drivers will now rumble. Ocean Walsh will start on the pole tonight with Tucker Minter in second. Blake Reynolds in third position. Logan Helton will start in fourth. Jake Poulin starts in fifth tonight with Tyler Williams in the sixth position for the standing start. Ryan Doucette in seventh. Rudy Valentine starts in eighth position, along with Jack Painter, Ryan Araki, the top 10. The last of the drivers, Justin Malone and Spencer Ray, who will begin tonight's action. And the safety car is standing by just in case for this evening. All the drivers are just about set to go for tonight's action. It's the question of who's going to be able to take the checker flag is going to be the interesting mark for tonight. Drivers will have 1 minute before the lights go out for tonight's action. Jacob, your final thoughts before we rumble as we take a look at your track conditions.
I forgot about standing starts, so that's just going to make it that much more chaotic getting into turn one. Here we go, lights out.
Green flag is waving and the lights are out. We're underway, and a bad start for Walsh, a great start for Minter. Off into turn one they rumble. They'll go into the Curva Grande at speeds of more than 200 miles an hour already, with Logan Helton picking up speed to the left side. Blake Reynolds trying to draft his way on behind.
We're already wrecking.
Side by side. One car off into the sand trap. That's Naraki, as Logan Helton has taken the lead going into Del Roggia.
And Tyler Williams, he just missed the corner. He has to stop and give up all the time that he gained there. He's going to fall to the 10th position by the time they get to the next corner. So a really bad start for Naraki. His car's junk. And Tyler Williams, he lost about half a dozen spots. But Logan Helton, see ya.
Remember, there are two faster pairs available, not the way you want to start for tonight's action. Helton has already jumped out by a 1 second advantage over the curbs. Tucker Minter. The one machine got a little bit squirrely in the Spud Cauliflower machine, and now has straightened himself back out inside the top three, pulling up the draft on Blake Reynolds to make it side by side into Parabolica.
And he made it work. Reynolds going to try to cross over, but just doesn't have the speed. Going to try and draft off him as much as he can. Minter's going to go to the bottom, try and get the draft to Welsh. But here comes Reynolds back on the outside. Walsh thought about going 3 wide. Going to stay in line with his teammate as Logan Helton continues to pull away. A 1.5 gap as they go to turn 1.
Blake Reynolds was actually quicker. Straight line speed-wise is a bit of contact wing to wing that time. Reynolds hit in the left rear of his back wing as Minter with the big dive passes his way past Reynolds, and Reynolds spins it around. Reynolds into the wall.
Yeah, that's it's a little too wide, gets that left rear in the gravel and just can't hang on. He's probably got rear suspension damage from where he hit the wall. The left rear tire definitely moved, so he might be crab walking it a little bit here. It's going to be a long trip back around the racetrack.
Not the day Reynolds needed. He was one of the championship contenders, 63 points back, needed a strong run and some luck with the double points tonight. Logan Helton, by the way, has now pulled away by already more than 2 seconds, breaking the toe from Tucker Minter and Walsh at the moment. Valentine, by the way, your biggest mover, is already up to 4th position.
He's flying, and what did he say during qualifying? He hates these cars, and yet here he is running P4 right now. He's got a great start. But Logan Helton, he was not picked up on any of our radars as really one to watch. And here he is pulling away as Walsh to the inside for 2nd.
And the teammates now swapping back and forth. Will the swap draft work here with these machines is a big question, as they make their way to Del Roggia once more, already on the 3rd lap of FTF1 competition. As you see, that lead is starting to come down a little bit, but the thing is, Lesmo seems to be one of the strong suits for Helton, where he's able to pull away by a couple tenths over his competitors.
And the more these two teammates battle here for 2nd, the easier it's going to be for Helton to pull away. If they get single file and sort things out, Helton may face some pressure. But right now, Walsh was able to get by Minter here. If they keep battling, Helton's just going to be loving what he sees in his mirror. Now that they're kind of organized here, I don't know. I think Helton might get a little nervous.
Helton from Scuderia Nexus Tari has now pulled away to 1.7 seconds the gap, as they have started to close it down. And this is one of the tough parts here at Monza, is with the speeds and the importance of draft, especially with no first chicane tonight. That could be a major spot for tonight. Ryan Doucette has gone around from the top 5, by the way. He went off into the sand trap through Parabolica and hit the tire barrier to the left side of the racetrack, bounced across the track. He is now in the pit lane with Blake Reynolds.
Yeah, and Doucette just took the 4th spot away from Rudy Valentine right before that. So he was having a good run, but it just takes one mistake and you can lose so much. And that's what happened there with Doucette.
Keeping up in the midst of some of these packs, keep in mind, are these two, as we'll see how things play out now that they're back within the slipstream of Helton. Helton, remember, rose up to fame after a strong performance in the California Clash just more than almost a year ago, and was able to parlay that into a spot with Nexus Esports and having a competitive season in eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing Series competition as well. He's also had a stellar time here when he's made starts in this series, 14th in the standings entering tonight. As one driver into the barrier.
Pulling.
Yes, indeed, it's Jake Poulin spinning around. He's now back to 8th position.
And he had a solid run going. As here comes Walsh again, looking for second down the main straightaway.
Back and forth they go, and it seems the teamwork is working now. The swap draft is really starting to come into play, especially in the run up to Della Roggia. They've now closed the gap down to 1 second. Late break for Walsh closes it down to about 4-5 car lengths between him and the race leader.
Here they come. I don't know if Logan Helton just pushed the tires a little too much early on here, or if it really is this draft, but they have caught him in a hurry, and Helton is going to be under some pressure here at about half a lap.
And keep in mind, they're running with the medium compounded tires. That's the yellow wall tires you see on these machines for tonight. How much does that factor in knowing you got the middle compounded tire available to these cars?
Well, you can't push it as much as Walsh goes wide there. That's not going to help him, but you can't push it as much. You're not going to have as much grip in the corner, but it's not like you're driving on bricks either. You're still going to have enough where you can push it and not worry about the tires falling off a ton compared to the red wall tires, but you're also not going to have the grip advantage that we're used to.
1:15 5s and 6s last time by from second and third. Helton a 1:16.3. Here comes the run now for Minter. He wants the race lead to the inside, heading towards Della Roggia. Can he make it stick? The answer is just about does and will. Off in the sand too, but that's going to allow Minter to get the run.
And Helton was able to fight back there on the bottom. Minter was stuck on the high side there. Helton wasn't obligated to give him that much room. Didn't. Minter got onto the gravel, got his tires a little dirty. And Helton was just able to get back out in front. Great drive by Helton thus far, but he's not going to be able to get away with that every lap here for the next 30 laps.
The youngster continues to hold on in the midst of this battle as here comes Minter, though, now with the big run heading towards Parabolica. Has the outside groove. Keep in mind, when side-by-side in practice, drivers had gotten loose right about there to the inside. Nearly hitting the grass that time along the curbing was Helton, and move Minter now to the race lead as they start to try and shuffle. Make it near 3 wide. Walsh elects to back off and allows Helton and Minter to now battle for the race lead going down the straightaway.
And Walsh wasn't sure which line to help, whether it was Minter on the bottom, his teammate, or Helton. He kind of went back and forth down the main straightaway. Helton got the bigger push, but they're still side by side here into the chicane.
And Walsh now going to back off, let these drivers fight as Helton retakes the race lead as into the sand he goes now. Similar mistake from before heading into Lesmo. They go through the first part of the Lesmo now. It's losing some time will be Minter as a result of that checkup. And it seems like the draft going to be very, very crucial for this back and forth. You talked about it, going to be difficult for the start and finish line, but in these sections, it may come into play if you're bold enough.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, Minter, he's being patient right now. He's not pushing it too hard because there's still a long time to go. If this were 4 to go, I think he'd be giving it all he's got. But right now, it's a long race. You just take it easy, relax. You're probably going to get by Helton. You've got the faster car, and just wait for him to make a mistake because it's bound to happen soon.
By the way, first DNF of the race, Ryan Naraki. Spencer Ray is also in the pit lane with the tow after an incident for his race. Now Minter looking to try and take the lead once more. Completes the pass. How will Helton now respond? Just about gets into the left rear tire of Minter, in fact, as they go side by side.
Helton is so strong in turn 1. He's able to get it back. And tell you what, if that gravel was just moved 2 feet out of the way more, these guys would be able to get a much better launch there when they're side by side. But Helton got the dirt on his tires, got a little slippy, and that's just going to allow Minter to hang out in front.
Rudy Valentine, keep in mind, is closing in about 1 second a lap as these drivers continue to scrap. That's exactly what he's looking for as Ray is now out of the race. Second DNF. We're down to 10 machines running on track. Coming to the end of lap 8 so far. The top 3 have pulled away by 2.5 seconds or so over Rudy Valentine. Tyler Williams is 5.6 seconds back in the race lead.
Yeah, so Walsh gets by for a second, and Helton at this point just right around here. Because, Walsh last time around was 5/10 off of Minter. This time around, actually, 5/10 off of Minter. Minter, fastest car on the track. So it's very possible that Minter's just able to pull away from this thing. But, we know Walsh is a fast car, too. And it's possible that Walsh was able to reel in Minter here and give him a run for his money. Remember, championship on the line is where Walsh just crashed. And so did Valentine. They both crashed.
I think Walsh actually had to take the access in the runoff. He missed his braking mark trying to fall behind Minter and took the shortcut.
Well, Valentine lost it there, and it's going to put Tyler Williams into 4th and move Valentine back to 5th. But that's big there for Walsh. I'm surprised that he wasn't forced to give the spot back to Helton there with him cutting the corner, because I think he might have gained a little bit of time from that rather than losing time, but I'm not entirely sure.
By the way, the 18 machine has front wing damage from the incident you're referring to. Significant front wing damage, in fact, as it's on the left front of the wing. See it crumpled up. He hit the Armco barrier. He might likely have to come down, and as well, you can see the tires are actually towed out on it.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. He's going to have to come in and pit. He might just use his fast repair right now. Pray we get a safety car later that'll bunch the field back together. But that's a tough break there for Valentine.
He'll come into the pit lane for service, and that will drop him from outside the top 5. Meanwhile, the race leaders, they have continued to pull away now by more than 6 seconds over Tyler Williams. It's just a matter of how they'll sort each other out. And keep in mind, when it comes to this car, it was announced today on the iRacing service, 2 members on the forums, that the super sessions for the qualifying series for the Dallara iRacing Grand Prix Championship would be taking place starting in July. So there is a World Championship coming up for this car as well. And I wouldn't be surprised to see 1 or 2 of these drivers try to run in the super sessions.
Tell you what, if we could pick up cover on that, I'd take that in a heartbeat as Walsh around the outside in turn 9 to take the lead.
Nice pass by Walsh right there, but Minter's in position to be able to get the slingshot once more to the inside. Now make it 3 wide for the race lead, as Logan Helton is not afraid to be bold tonight. That's one of the best things you can say right now, as the 52 now leads, and clipping the grass goes Minter.
This is what will keep Logan Helton in the race. This all started with a bobble by Minter, and now that Walsh was able to get in there, they wreck! Oh my gosh!
Wreck for the race lead between Helton and Walsh. Safety car is out as Walsh has hit the Armco. The battle for the race lead has turned disastrous.
And I talked about that gravel. You can see the tire tracks through the gravel coming out of the chicane. These guys have been hitting it constantly, and it just gets Walsh sideways on the gas. His tires are dirty. He doesn't have the grip, and he comes down the racetrack and just clips Logan Helton. He goes on a wild ride. It should have broken the back suspension on the car. If it didn't, that's a miracle. And Tucker Minter, he has a little bit of front end damage, I think, on the right front wing. Other than that, he fared out of that okay. But I mean, really, that takes all 3 leaders with damage here.
Take a look at the bar visuals replay with this, and you can see trying to go right into the sand, and it was enough to send him slipping and sliding into Helton. Walsh ended up breaking an axle, having to take a tow with that. Minter and Helton both able to get to the pit lane under their own power.
I mean, you can see pretty much the groove that's been worn in the gravel there, that tire line, just from people going too wide because they're side by side in that part of the track. And we've seen it happen a couple of times where they get too wide, they get sideways, and there's another classic example of it.
And a lot of drivers are taking this opportunity to come in and pit, by the way. Blake Reynolds getting new tires. Jack Painter's got new tires. Service about 7 seconds. Helton 7 seconds of service. Minter, he's now been in the pit lane for more than 50 seconds meanwhile.
Yeah, so that tells me Minter's going now. That tells me he saved his fast repair. And they were just going to work out that damage on the right front wing, not fast repair it, save the fast repair just in case. He thinks the damage wasn't too bad that it needed a fast repair. We'll see how that plays out for him.
He is off and away. Blake Reynolds is also taking significant amount of time in the pit lane. He also went for 47 seconds of service. As you can see, everyone's caught up to the safety car. It's Justin Maluo, though, who's in the lead, but he has not pit yet. We'll have to see if he elects to come under the safety car period. Everyone else behind him has taken service either for tires under the caution or a fast repair.
And I don't blame him.
Coming to the end of lap 12, by the way, this race has been flying by and what's been some intense battling so far. Your thoughts on how things have played out as it looks like Maluo will indeed come down to pit this time by.
We had a great battle for the lead. I mean, that was incredible. What Walsh, Minter, and Helton were able to pull off. As Helton's going to recycle around to the lead, then Williams, Painter, Valentine, and Minter the top 5. Walsh with the tow, he stays on the lead lap. He's still trying to catch up. He's going to be at the back of the order with Doucette here on this restart, and probably Maluo. I don't know if, Maluo got off pit road relatively quick, so I think he'll be able to beat these guys out.
Indeed, safety car will come in this lap, by the way. Ryan Doucette also took a 47-second stop. Walsh, 2 minutes, 23 seconds of service for his pit stop, as you see some of these drivers now try and work their way to the safety car, which is making its way already through Sector 2 of the racetrack, making its way through Del Roggio, in fact. So to reset, it's Helton, Williams, Painter, Valentine, Maluo, or rather Minter, Poulin, Maluo, Reynolds, Walsh, Doucette, who are all on track to be your top 10 competitors. Safety car expected to speed away next corner. And restarts are going to be very critical to time up when it comes to this car.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first rolling restart that they've had. We had the I can't even think of what it's called. The start there, standing start. Thank you. I don't know why that was so difficult, but we had the standing start, in which we saw Minter get a great launch and Walsh really struggle. Now this is going to be what everybody else is used to on a restart, which is, you're already rolling, you hit the gas and you go. You're not going from a complete stop. So it's going to play into the hands of some of these guys compared to the standing starts here. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
But a tire spin for Logan Helton as the green flag now waves. We're back underway. As now it's the matter of how this will turn out with Tyra Williams now in second spot. Jack Painter third. Valentine already having to hold off Tucker Minter, though, in the battle for fourth position. It stays single file for now, but Williams thinking about the lead. Helton clips the grass. Into Del Roggio they go once more. The big send by Williams for the lead. He goes over the turtles. He misses the corner. He's got to slow down.
Well, that might allow his teammate here in Jack Painter at will. So Painter goes by for second. It puts William in third, and I thought he had a shot to get Helton there. Just made a mistake. Probably trying to keep it out of the gravel coming off the corner and just overdrove it and wound up cutting the corner.
Bad news for Ryan Doucette fans, by the way. He ended up not catching up to the safety car for one, and then wrecked on his own and has broken his tie rod on the left front tire. He is in the pit lane. So that means 9 cars are currently running after this restart, as you see Doucette and Walter coming in for a stop.
Yeah, well, Walsh and Melillo are 3 seconds back from the rest of this group. I'm not sure what happened with them, but they really fell back here in a hurry. So not what Walsh needed, as we got a battle here. Blake Reynolds and Poulin, as well as Valentine and Williams.
Both of those drivers you just mentioned, by the way, had to come in. I believe there was contact between Melillo and Walsh coming out of Lesmo. That's the reason for that. Doucette, now a potential factor for the battle for the race lead, though. We'll give some draft to Logan Helton here as one car. You've seen Tyler Williams watching as Minter goes up into the Armco barrier.
I missed him going around. Oh, he got... his car's broken. He got net-coated, aero loosed so bad it sent him into the air like they made wheel-to-wheel contact, broke the suspension, and then slammed into the Armco. So he's going to crab walk his way around. Now he's definitely going to have to use his fast repairs. He just spun it again.
And Tucker Minter needed a top 5 to secure the championship. But his championship competitor in Walsh is still scored behind him on the racetrack in 9th. In other words, Walsh may need another safety car here to get into contention here. This could really shake things up depending on how things fare out. Remember, Minter has already had to use some damage repairs done in this race as he has to dodge his teammate. Walsh has to dodge his teammate.
Yeah, that's not what you need, is something like what Red Bull would do, or Ferrari, just take yourself out and your teammate out in the same spot. You know, keep it clean as best you can, and goodness, it's all falling apart for them.
Not the day they all needed for this double points season finale, as Helton's in the lead, Painter in second. Then you have Blake Reynolds, who is now scored in 3rd position. There is a lap car between them. Then it's Valentine, who has been shuffled back to 4th position this lap. So we'll have to see how things go here for these competitors with this traffic now as a potential factor here in Doucette.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious here. Oh my gosh, who is that there on the flat? Is that? Oh no, that's Minter. That's Minter trying to get to pit road. It's a long way around this racetrack. So he is now a lap down in the 10th spot. That helps Walsh, but Walsh still needs some help.
And Minter is going to take him a little bit of time to get to his pit stall here in the paddock. You can see just how much he has to wheel that machine. As now we look back at the race lead. Jack Painter wants it. Can he get it? Last time by in this section, there was a bit of tire-to-tire contact. The answer is, for now, inconclusive into Lesmo.
Oh, man. Logan Helton right on the edge right there, man. He almost got into Painter. They almost had a deja vu moment there coming out of the first lane. They're all able to hang on, and here comes Painter again. Can't get... Oh, he hit Helton. They both go off the track.
And the battle for the race lead escalates once more right into the path of the new race leader in Valentine. My goodness, as Blake Reynolds tries to take it now for 2nd spot. What a sequence of events once more as the 18 holds on to the lead as he smokes the tires.
And Jack Painter has to have damage to his car. There's no way he doesn't on the front wing. He stays out, though, and is still in front of his teammate Tyler Williams as here comes Reynolds looking for the lead.
Blake Reynolds wants to take the point. It's the matter, though, of how this fares out amongst these cars now. Valentine trying to hold on to the left side. Logan Helton trying to fall back. Now backs up as he lets them fight for the race lead. They do have Tucker Minter now in front as Reynolds takes the point.
So Tucker Minter is almost 2 laps down right now. Which is insane. The fact that he's almost 2 laps down now, and these leaders are hungry. Here comes Valentine trying to get around the outside.
Trying to make it work, heading into a Scary as Reynolds able to make the grip stick. As Hilton stays within this 3-car grouping. They also have Doucette that's holding onto the tail end of this pack. Valentine now to the left side of the racetrack heading to Parabolica. Reynolds with the boulder send though. What a send and what a way to make it stick for Blake Reynolds.
Yeah, Valentine had to lift there, I think, too, and that allowed Helton to pull in, but here comes Valentine using the draft down the straightaway. Helton going to make a move as well. Valentine with the block.
And Helton nowhere to go once more. Reynolds trying to keep it on the left side of the racetrack, heading to the Del Raggio this time. It's worked several times to make moves into this corner, and it looks like Blake Reynolds will succeed the position. Jack Painter, by the way, has had to come in for a pit stop. He was one driver who was at one point amongst this lead fight just a few laps ago.
And he ran into the back of Helton, so he's probably coming in and getting that wing fixed. Because there's no way he was going to be able to make that work for the rest of the way, as Logan Helton got a little wide there, kicked up some dirt, but still hanging on to P3.
If you're Logan Helton, how do you try and plan this out knowing the top two are fighting aggressively, but there's nowhere for you to go when they're side by side? If anything, you're boxed in.
Wait for one of them to make a mistake and go where they aren't. Oh, Blake Reynolds got turned by Rudy Valentine.
And you called for the potential mistake? We get a mistake.
Safety car.
And another crash for the race lead just past halfway in the race.
Wow. And I tell you what, Logan Helton came onto pit road as soon as the caution, or as soon as safety car was issued.
And this is going to be huge. Absolutely huge, as the safety car is indeed out on the racetrack. We'll have to see how things sort out for the rest of the field, as the majority of the others may have to come down the next time by if they elect to take tires here. We are on lap number 20 of 35 of this race. And keep in mind right now, when it comes to the points, Walsh is currently needing to gain an additional 3 positions for a chance at the title. How things fare out. The bar visuals replay changes things now for the complexion of this race. Let's take a look at what happened.
I mean, getting down here into the corner, Blake Reynolds pulls to the inside, getting into the corner, and he just comes right across Valentine. I think Valentine sent it in a bit too much. It's just close quarter racing. It picks the rear tires up off the ground of Reynolds and sends him around.
And we'll take an arrow look. Grunts here. Keep in mind, a lot of pressure from behind.
Sounds like Valentine's upset with Helton, but Helton's saying, look, I did not send it into the corner. I backed off when I saw you make the move. And if we look at the replay again, you will see, him not... You'll see. He gives up. He's like, okay, I'm not going to be able to get it here. And then the contact's made, and he goes to the bottom and says, all right, see you later. And a blocking warning has been sent to Rudy Valentine.
Formal warning given in that situation. By the way, keep in mind, lap cars get their laps back on the final lap of the safety car. That will help Minter's case at the moment, with Walsh up to 5th. So we'll see who elects to come down here. We ran about 9 laps or so on the stint, and it looks like everybody's going to come down for tires.
Yeah, I would pit here, just because this will definitely get you to the end. Helton stays out because he already pitted, and Painter stays out because he pitted right before the caution came out. So everybody's going to be on equal grounds here as far as tires for the most part.
This is big for Painter indeed. Remember, had that spin just a couple laps ago we referred to. So now he is your leader. Helton is able to come in as soon as the lane in the safety car was called. Maluo has already also had to come down for service, remember, because of his trouble just a couple laps ago. So under the safety car period once more, and FTF1 for the Italian Grand Prix, the final round of this season. And boy, oh boy, has it been an exciting one. Some great road course action, but some great oval action as well. That's really tested the flexibility and adaptability of the drivers this season, Jacob. On top of things, has really been a true test to see how this car drives on oval, since this car was made primarily for road courses originally.
And it's fun everywhere. It's fun on the road courses. It's fun on the ovals. These guys, I don't think, have put on a bad race this year. It's been a lot of fun covering these guys. Oh my gosh.
Tyler Williams. Tyler Williams was like Tucker Minter.
That's got to be... well, they were supposed to pass on the right. Tyler Williams was on the right side and just got rear-ended. So Minter has more damage now, and he has to pit again. So that's going to extend the safety car.
Yeah, has to come in for a tow as a result of this. As you can see, this is where he's trying to get that lap back we talked about, and you see right there, Williams is trying to just warm up his tires.
Maybe he was on the wrong side of the track anyway. That right side, that right shoulder was supposed to be kept clear for Minter and the lapper, and he was all the way over there. And that's where it came from there.
A disastrous sequence there. Safety car staying out for the time being as a result of that contact. And now it gets to where, Walsh, what do you do if you're him? Because you have the chance to come away with the title now if Minter can't get himself back going here.
Get in the top 5. Get a good finish out of this deal. You can't just ride around in the back. You have to go. Keep the car clean, but still, you got to be able to get up to the front and make something happen.
Drivers have now been officially informed that there is going to be the safety car coming in this lap, but absolutely huge, to say the very least. Minter, I believe, did get the tow done. And Williams has already left the pit lane as well. So at the very least, they're back on the track. The tough part is, I don't know if Minter's going to have enough time to get a lap back here.
No, he will not. Well, him and Tyler Williams are flying right now. Williams is on the lead lap. Minter is not. I don't think they're going to have enough time here.
And keep in mind, only Tyler Williams originally did not use the fast repair before that sequence. Everyone's already had at least one or both of them used in this race so far.
Yeah, Minter has used both of his. Williams has used one. Walsh has used one. Everybody has used at least one other than the safety car.
And now we're all set to go back underway. Bit of a later start this time. And it's Jack Painter, who is your race leader, approaching the closing stages of this race as Logan Helton immediately to the race lead. He's going for it, and so is Justin Malone, who came away with an emotional victory last time. By the way, black flag for the 18 as a result of that last incident that brought up the safety car.
And I'm sure he's thrilled right now in that race car too, sitting P4, just trying to stop the bleeding. Now he's got another penalty to serve.
And Logan Helton with some phenomenal pace here in this race tonight. Now has been able to pull away by 1.2 seconds from the rest of the pack. They are fighting hard, though, for third on back. Valentine is still amongst the drivers shuffling with that black flag. Blake Reynolds, Jake Poulin, and then you have Walsh also in the mix. A bit loose there as Malone, as he'll lose several positions. One more car spinning, and it is one of your race leaders that just went around.
Melillo got the turtle. That's why he fell back, but I'm not sure what happened to Painter there. He just... Wow.
Big time for a spin as he ended up hitting the turtle indeed.
Oh, yeah, they both got the turtle. Melillo was able to save it. Painter could not.
That extends the lead now by a significant margin of 3 seconds. Painter will have to drop down the pylon tonight. But Walsh is up to 4th position, and this could get interesting from here. At the moment, if it stays the way it is, Minter would still win the title with Minter scoring 2, and, well, now with the pass for 3rd position, would move it into a 2-point difference between these competitors. Include the fastest lap, given to Tucker Minter a 1:15.625. That grows the gap to 4 points. In other words, if Walsh wants the title, he needs to get to 2nd.
And Minter's in 10th. So Minter is as low as he can get. Walsh absolutely needs to get to 2nd in order to win this championship now.
Going to be one of the most hotly contested battles of the day, and we've seen some heavy battles for the race lead. This could be a heavy battle to decide the title as we approach the closing stages of the final race of FTF1 season. Walsh is now in the draft of Reynolds. How do you try and set this up to get this done and then try and hold on to it, because this could be Walsh's title here. If
Walsh has to be
green is the key word.
Well, I mean, we're coming to 10 to go this time around, so you have to be on it here. You got to click off 10 perfect laps, because Tucker Minter is in a box. He's a lap down. He can't gain any more spots at this point unless somebody wrecks. Walsh needs to get this 2nd spot in order to have any chance at winning the championship.
Heading off through Sector 2 now, approaching Ascari this time. For Minter, by the way, he'd have to gain 56 seconds on the next position to be able to gain an additional 2 points, which is a very difficult task, to say the very least, here on this racetrack for tonight.
Tell you what, Logan Helton is good on the short runs, the very short runs, but on the long runs, everybody else starts to close in. Blake Reynolds and Oyson Walsh are starting to reel in that 52 again, like we saw earlier with Walsh and Minter. This battle for the lead isn't done yet, guys.
New fastest lap, by the way, Blake Reynolds, a 1:15.138. And down to the right side goes Walsh. He takes away what could be the championship lead there. Now it's the matter, though, of how it closes out. Reynolds backs up, and now they're within 1.6 seconds of Logan Helton.
Here we go. This puts Walsh in the championship seat. He controls his destiny right here.
Big time moment here. Can Walsh walk off is the biggest question with the victory. The biggest question is, can Helton hold on for less than 10 more laps of action? Walsh right now, it looks like working with Blake Reynolds with the draft. They're focusing on trying to get to Helton more than fighting right now.
That's the best way to do it. We saw it work with Walsh and Minter earlier. Why not try it again here?
Reynolds once again going for the bump draft. That's something we've always seen on the ovals much of this season. Trying to push it on forward.
That's dangerous, though.
Yeah, very dangerous and very risky for damage.
Especially for a championship contender. I don't know if I'd be comfortable with an open wheel car giving me a bump draft down the straightaway.
At Monza, in particular, heading into the corner. An interesting move to try and close up the gap. Keep in mind, the strongest section for Helton has been Sector 2. The run through the Del Roggia and Lismo throughout the race.
Jake Pullen's around.
Jake Pullen from the top 5 with trouble. He's had to spin it on around. To get back going, he's lost a couple positions as a result. That's Jack Painter that has a chance to close in. As we look back on the race leaders, it's down to about a second.
Yeah, Poulin got a little wide and caught the gravel again. It's been the theme of the day, and lost it, but he's able to keep it going now.
See what Blake Reynolds elects to do this time. Last time he went for the bump draft. A little bit further on.
We got trouble. Doucette, he's upside down.
Is this going to be enough to trigger a safety car? It's at the side of the
yet.
He is currently trying to keep it going. I don't think that's going to work, but everybody else has passed on by him.
Yeah, the only other person that hasn't gotten by him is Minter. But I mean, at this point, I think Doucette's just begging to bring out a caution. Because he's still on the track right now.
They have requested a tow. Walsh is now within a car length over the race lead. He's now trying to send it for the point.
Just got to keep control under the car. It's all you got to do.
Trying to poke to the right side. Backs off. Helton holds on for now.
Here comes Reynolds, though, looking for second.
Thinking about it and now going for the bump. Second time he's gone for the bump draft in this race. This is your current projected championship leader being pushed right now by Reynolds. Still within a car length now for the lead. Going to the right side. Helton going defensive to the left side. It's worked a couple times the long way around into Del Roggia, but Helton makes it stick this time, and Reynolds makes the move. Reynolds to the sand. Reynolds drops back behind Walsh.
Reynolds was smart, though. He didn't floor it right away. If he floored it, that would have taken him and Walsh out. He learned from the mistakes that other guys have made so far today. He kept out of the gas. He let Walsh get by, and then he got out of the gravel and kept on going. He did not try and be a hero there. Good move by Blake Reynolds.
And an issue for Tyra Williams now as he's gone off in the runoff area in the Del Roggia. Staying green for now as he's back rolling. He drops to 8th position.
By the way, Doucette is still on pit road. Tucker Minter is in position number 9 right now. Don't know what that does with points.
That's this lap still owned by Blake Reynolds, by the way, for the 2 bonus points towards that direction. Six to go. Helton leads by 1.3 seconds. And second and third zipping their way closer and closer to Helton. It may take a couple laps, and they may only have a couple chances to try and go for the race lead here at the pace they're running.
It's got to be perfect. They have to be absolutely perfect here, these next 6 laps, if they want to have a shot at Logan Helton.
Right now, unofficial count would be a 6-point advantage to Walsh's direction if things were to stick the way they were. Coming up to 5 laps to go, now down to 7/10 of a second. Walsh needs to defend to hold on to what could be the title.
So at this point, they made up about half of the gap in 1 lap. That's promising, but it's one thing to get to him. It's another thing to get by him. 5 to go.
Check that on the count, 2 with the 9th place run. Give or take. It's going to be tight for the championship. It could be tight for the race lead. Walsh with a bit of wheel hop. Nearly locked it up in the back lane of Helton, and they'll lose more time again.
Not as much as they did earlier, though. It's about even to where it was the last time around. So they can manage that. They get too far back, though. They lose the draft, and that's really going to hurt them.
Going to be valuable points on the line here and a valuable win on the season. With the double points as here comes Walsh now with the run. Will he go for the lead? Yes, he will. Helton goes to the left side, heading to Parabolica. Walsh backs it off. He tries to go single file as Helton locks up the tires, and here he goes off into the kitty litter.
This is going to be a big run here in turn one. Walsh has a lot of speed. Here we go.
Walsh for the race lead. Can he get fully clear? Yes, he can. And he's got help from Blake Reynolds, who clips the grass.
Oh, and Helton almost went off the racetrack. Here comes Reynolds. Where's he going to go?
Reynolds now wants the race.
Walsh over the turtles. Oh, my goodness, what a save.
And what a bobble from Reynolds as Helton jumps back into second.
My goodness.
The race lead has been wild tonight, to say the very least. In FTF1, several battles for the lead have seen similar battles like this. The thing is, will they keep it clean for the closing stages? Heading up towards 3 laps to go.
The draft is going to be crucial here, though, because Helton isn't quite done yet. He's going to get the draft off Walsh. The question is, can he get by him to the inside?
Helton for the race lead.
Got him.
And made it stick. Now Reynolds, though, goes on by. Walsh can't afford this. Walsh needs to get on by.
I think Walsh through turn 9, he lifted so we get the better run, the better draft down the straightaway, because he's just going to shove Blake Reynolds to the lead, and he's going to clear himself almost here for second. He will.
Helton, though, able to get to the very edge on the left side of his tires to keep it side by side. Helton now backs off. Helton now jumps up. Along the turtles they go. Reynolds hit the turtles with the right side tires. He's now to the race lead.
And now Walsh is struggling because he's in third. He doesn't have any help behind him.
Now this is going to be critical. It's a 6-point difference between a second place and a third place finish. As Reynolds hits the turtles and Walsh takes advantage. He's back to second, coming to 2 to go.
I thought they both were going to crash right there. That was a great save by both Reynolds and Helton.
And Reynolds goes for the bump draft. He wants to get back up to Helton.
Here we go. 2 to go.
Final 7 miles from Monza for FTF1 competition. Walsh with the massive run, 222 miles an hour. He goes to the right side. Off through Curva Grande. Clears himself for the race lead. Helton tries to go to the right side. To defensive lines goes Walsh.
Oh, he pushed him wide. Here comes Reynolds.
Goes over the turtles. Helton cuts the course. We'll see how this fares.
No safety cars the rest of the race, too. We're committed from here on out.
Valentine has had to come down for a pit stop after a 10-lap stint. That was from the mid-pack. But it's now Helton who leads for now after having to take the escape route. Reynolds in second, Walsh in third. Coming up to the white flag, this time by in the Italian GP.
Here comes Reynolds. Locking him up.
Locking up that right front tire as Reynolds now goes for the race lead, coming to the white. Final lap from Monza, this time by. Helton trying to get the victory. Reynolds trying to defend on the right side. Walsh trying to win the title behind them.
I was going to say, Walsh, he needs to be in at least second spot here in order to win the title.
Still side by side for the lead. Near tire to tire. Going off into Della Raggia. Along the curves. Helton with the squeeze. Helton in the stand.
Oh, no, Walsh up and over.
Reynolds. And Walsh goes into the Armco. Collecting Reynolds. Absolutely huge as they're stopped in the white flag lap.
Well, Walsh can't go anywhere. And I mean, Reynolds can't really either. They're both broken. Jack Painter is going to wind up in the second spot here. No, Justin Melillo, because Painter just crashed.
Meanwhile,
Crashed through the chicane, and he's still spinning it. I think he just slapped the wall.
what a final lap. Logan Helton looking to try and come across the stripe. Can he get it done cleanly by more than 26 seconds? He'll take the checkered and the top step of the podium at Monza.
And that means Tucker Minter is going to win the FTF1 championship.
Again, all unofficial. We'll have to see how things play out as Minter will come across the stripe in what was a wild sequence of events.
I still can't believe what happened there. Helton's been apologizing over the radio profusely. I don't know if they will take this away from Helton. But either way, Minter is the champ. 0 positions are official per race control.
Again, all unofficial at the moment.
Jake Poulin got second from Justin Melillo. So Minter is confirmed the champion. Everything else is up in the air.
It's going to be interesting how this is all scored. Minter is currently 8th. An incredible close to this race. My goodness.
Here's the replay of the last lap.
And this completely changed the complexion of the championship.
They're just going to come down, and they're not going to give an inch. Helton's going to catch the gravel again and just bottles everybody up. Reynolds and Helton make contact, and Reynolds comes back up the track and nowhere for Walsh to go.
And Walsh stayed in the car for a good portion of time trying to get this car going. You can see Reynolds try to get going as well, because there were valuable podium positions on the line. Remember, there were prizes available for the podium as well tonight. And then on top of that, you have the spin in the backdrop for the edge of the top 5 as Melillo drove on by. And then there was the battle between Poulin and Melillo that broke down for second unofficially.
I stand corrected. I don't think Poulin got Melillo. I think that was because initially we were set up to run 53 laps, so we think iRacing still thinks we're going. That's why scoring is still active. So I don't think Poulin got this second spot. We'll have to wait and see.
Let's follow along with this to make sure this sequence. You can see, though, that Poulin did get a bit of a run up to the inside of Melillo and was able to make the move into Parabolica.
Oh, no, he did get there.
An impressive pass. Poulin actually did a burnout afterwards, too. Was very happy with that run.
Yeah.
So again, this is all unofficial. But it's Helton who is at the top of the board, followed by Poulin and Melillo at the stripe after 35 completed laps. Painter and Williams, Valentine, Reynolds, Minter, Walsh, Doucette. Rocky and Ray did not finish this race.
Still waiting for official ruling here from race control. I'm just keeping an eye on the iRacing chat here. I figure it's easier just for them to type it in. We'll have to wait and see. It's hard for me to imagine that they don't give this win to Logan Helton. Well, we don't make the call. We don't get paid the big bucks.
With that, we'll take a break. When everything gets sorted out, you're watching STN Racing for coverage of FTF1 in a wild finale.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Monza, as boy oh boy did Monza madness break out on the final lap of this one. An exciting final lap with a lot of battling all night long for the final race of FTF1 competition. Jacob Hitz, Justin Prince with you, with Zach Johnson in the director's seat. Jacob, real quickly, your thoughts on how things all played out here. Jacob Hitz.
That was just a wild finish. A perfect way to end the championship, because we did not know who was going to win the championship really until the last lap with that contact there. Minter winning the title is the only thing we have confirmed at this point. Everything else is still up in the air, but we'll get some resolve here from race control in a little while on who won this race and the rest of the finishing order, and we'll be able to put a cap on this season. But what a wild race. I mean, this was a fantastic way to end the season. Maybe not ideally for race control, but from a fan perspective, this was fun to watch.
And one of the drivers now joining us is also a part of the admin team for FTF1, Jake Poulin. Jake, I'll give you the mic, and a wild end to the season.
Okay, so the official ruling on the finish for the 52 car of Logan Helton, it's going to be a 5-second time penalty for inadvertent obstruction. So he retains the win with that result. Also, 5-second time penalty for Jack Painter for blocking on the final lap, and also a 10-second penalty for Justin Melillo for causing an incident on the final lap. All of those penalties end up not changing any of the results, however.
Intriguing. And when it comes to the championship, Jake?
The champion is officially Tucker Minter by, I believe, 34 points over Oisin Walsh.
Thank you very much for the time, Jake.
You're welcome.
Jake Poulin with the official explanation from Race Control. And you heard it. It's Tucker Minter officially your champion in an eventful one here at Monza. And it was in doubt until the final lap, Jacob, because of some of the struggles Minter had in this race. And then the final lap broke out.
Yeah, and if Walsh did not get involved in that, Walsh probably would have won the race since Helton had a little bit of damage, and we know what happened with Reynolds' car. And that would have given Walsh the championship. So just wrong place, wrong time, really, for Royce and Walsh. He almost had this thing. He was 3/4 of a lap away.
So the top 5 is, once again, Helton, Poulin, followed by Malillo, then the 10 machine of Jack Painter, then the 9 machine of Tyler Williams is your top 5. The podium all received 25, 20, and 15 iRacing credits, respectively. What a way to close things out. Again, is the only thing I can really say. Some exciting action all throughout tonight's action. An intriguing one once more from Monza, as why don't we bring in, first things first, your now official champion, shall we? In what was an eventful one, Tucker Minter now joins us in the broadcast booth. Tucker, it was in down in the closing stages with some of the trouble, and then the last lap broke out. But you are the champion. How does that make you feel to win FTF1?
It's more relief than anything to beat Dave there. I was making fun of him that he was going to have a Mickey Mouse Championship if he won because I got wrecked under caution. And then he was like, well, I want to win the race and get the $25 to win the race. So we were kind of going back and forth. And he figured he was probably going to, he said, I'm probably going to wreck anyway because of how hard everyone was racing up there. And I kind of agreed with him. So there was that. And I mean, there was nothing I could do. You know, I didn't get a chance to get back on the lead lap after like 2 safety cars or I was pinned a lap down. So I was pretty much stuck just riding there.
Indeed. To talk through the season, talk us through the battle to win this championship, because you had some wild moments from Spa where you and your teammate were battling for the win and both had spin arounds, for example, and of course today, and of course the ovals that brought a lot of excitement. Talk us through this run up to this championship and the challenges you had to get here.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like Dave and I, and maybe Blake and Brandon Hawk in the first race kind of had a pace advantage over everybody at the road courses, so we were really able to get a lot of points there. And it was really fun at Spa because we had like 4 or 5 guys that were kind of close, and then Dave and I had a really fun battle at the end. And most of the road courses were all right, depending on how the safety cars fell, because the safety cars could like cool the tires down and make the car not very fun to drive because of understeer and stuff. With the car's not really made for that, so that kind of caused some issues. And then the ovals was kind of about surviving. Like, I mean, at Indy, I was just kind of bored in the second one because everyone was sitting there riding. Then, Frisch and I got together, which I thought was more of a racing deal, but other people didn't feel that way. So I could have lost points there even though Dave wasn't there. So it was just showing up every week, really, and then consistently having the speed.
On that note, where does the focus now lie for you? Because I know it's busy with FTF competition as well as eNASCAR competition to plan things out on your side. What's next for Tucker Minter?
Yeah, I mean, FTF1 didn't really take too much time away from anything. I just kind of show up, and my first practice laps would be in the practice session, so I didn't really lose much time there. So now the focus is really on round 2 and getting a handle on what the truck is, if it has any updates after this build.
Anyone you want to thank for the run tonight?
I got to thank Dave for showing up with me again and having the whole season together. We did it for Spud Cauliflower Racing and Splash and Go Graphics. Thanks to Cosman for paint scheme here, and then all my paint schemes on the eNASCAR side as well. And Nexus.
Of course. Real quickly, what came into the decision to nickname your team Spud Cauliflower, if you don't mind me asking, before I'll let you close things out?
Well, Spud Cauliflower was a gentleman from Ayrton Senna, Brazil, who had a very short life on the iRacing forums that may or may not have resulted in the iRacing forums being crashed. And We just wanted to bring awareness and justice for Spud.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. Congratulations on the championship.
Yep, thanks, Justin.
Tucker Minter, your FTF1 champion. Your race winner was Logan Helton, meanwhile. He's now joined with Jacob Hitz.
Logan, that was one hell of a race. You were able to bring it in there. Contact there on the last lap. Things perhaps not going the way you wanted it, but still, you had a great car on the short run. Take us through your night.
Yeah, I just had a lot of fun tonight, and before I even say anything else, I just want to really apologize to the two guys behind me. Coming out of that one chicane there, I just got my tires in the gravel, and I knew it was the last lap, and I was just trying to push it some more to make sure I stay at least side by side, and the car just came around on me, and it looked like a really bad block, but especially in these cars, I'd never block like that, and it was just a simple dumb mistake I made of getting loose, and I feel really bad that it had to come to an end like that, because I was having a blast racing those guys, and even if I didn't win, I would have been happy finishing top 3 with how we were racing up there.
Now take us through your viewpoint. That was the toughest part on the track for everybody, it seemed like. Coming out of that chicane, the gravel, very close to the racetrack. We saw a lot of people get too wide, get the rear tires in the dirt like what happened to you, and just lose traction on the race car.
Yeah, heading to that corner by itself, it was easy to go wide. The left front tire would wear so much that it was hard to get it to turn. But going in there side by side is another level of crazy. Whenever you just go in there, it's hard to make it to turn, and then I try to put the power down to stay in front of them, and yeah, it just got loose. But it's definitely an easy thing to do if you don't be careful. If you're not careful, English.
Before we send you on your way to celebrate the win here from Monza, anybody you want to thank, say hi to?
Just thanks to all my friends and family for watching the race. Thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast and the commentating for the finale. It was definitely a great race. Thanks to everyone I was racing with up there, Blake, Dave, Tucker at one point. It was just a lot of fun. And thanks to Nexus Esports and FTF for putting on this super fun series every week.
Well, congratulations on the race win, and best of luck to you moving forward.
Thank you very much.
Logan Helton, your race winner here from Monza.
And on that note, Jacob, what are your final thoughts on how this all closed out for this season and the fun we had here in FTF1?
It was a perfect way to end this season. You know, it's been wild from the drop of the green flag. We've seen a lot of action, a lot of fun racing, and I hope this series comes back in the future because this was one whale of a ride.
Absolutely. Plenty of upcoming action on STN Racing as well for what's expected to be a busy next few days. The FTF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals heads to the Oval here at Monza. That's tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to tune in for what's expected to be a wild race, to say the very least. Then FTF SNSL presented by STN is back. Round number 1, Talladega Super Speedway, Friday, June the 11th. You can catch that at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And don't forget, the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series finale heads over to Dover International Speedway on Thursday, June the 17th. That is the final race before everyone is settled on into the top 70 for round number 2. That starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for second split coverage. But with that, it's time to say goodbye. For my co-announcer, Jacob Hitz, for our producer, Zach Johnson, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your night. Congratulations to your race winner in, once more, a victory for Logan Helton and a championship for Tucker Minter and FTF1 competition.